You're watching the Hostile Takeover podcast.
There's a quote I heard once I always loved, and I'm going to mess it up, but it's along the lines of like music transcends time, beliefs, languages. You can believe two different things. You can speak two different languages. You can be, one of you can be 9, one of you can be 99, and a certain kind of music will connect the two of you.
For sure.
And I think that that's a really powerful thing if you think about it. And I love that. I love music. I could go on all day with how much I love it.
My first music teacher.
Life would be like without it.
My first music teacher in high school said, like music. I think he said music and math are the international languages.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Not too bad, thanks. For all the
Am I allowed to
listeners.
say happy birthday or no?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So I turned 40 today, so this won't be airing until like a couple days from now, but it won't be my birthday anymore. But yeah, I'm 40 now.
Big milestone.
Big milestone. Yeah. I've been feeling.
I got 2 years to go for that one.
Yeah, I've been feeling 40 for like the past 15 years, anyways. So.
I'm really feeling that. Yeah. I wake up with a sore back every day. I wake up and assess the various pains, new ones, old ones.
Exactly. All right. Well, Alex Kaye Black, very nice to have you on the podcast. Really appreciate
Thanks
your time.
Thanks for having me.
So you're a musician.
I am. Yes.
You also work in radio. You're a songwriter.
Yes.
Can you just? I like to talk about kind of how you got into the industry and your early inspirations and how you got in. So can you tell us a little bit about what the first spark was?
Yeah, for sure. So with music and radio, music came first. My parents aren't musicians, but just music lovers. Grew up with music on all the time. It was on in the car. It was on in the backyard. It was just such a soundtrack of life. And one of my favorite memories growing up was the Columbia House thing where you could get 10 CDs or 12 CDs. And I think you got 2 extra if you got 10, and me and my brother would get to pick one. And it was like Christmas.
Nice.
Music was just such a integral part of growing up.
You're definitely aging yourself there with the Columbia House.
You know what? I'm okay with that. I made mixtapes with my dad too. And I feel like I'm happy that I grew up in that time because it was such an art to do. And just such a, father-daughter, what a nice activity to do together. But yeah, and I just liked singing. I don't remember what started that. I remember being young and having a hard time with singing because I couldn't match the singing quality of a lot of female singers until I found the Tracy Chapmans and kind of Stevie Nicks, even she goes a little high for me. And then becoming a youth, 12, 13, 14, and getting into Silverchair and Alice in Chains and starting to sing that stuff and kind of finding my voice. And I went to a Catholic school that had a vocal class that was basically a teacher who was a vocal teacher. And because it was a Catholic school, we took this class and then sang at the masses.
Okay.
So I've been non-religious for so long, I couldn't remember the name mass. But that teacher, I was singing, I guess, with the tenors, and she kind of looked at me and goes, "Are you singing with the boys?" And I thought I was about to get reprimanded and apologize. And she's like, "Never apologize. That is so cool. Get over there." And I always say my life changed that day because I stopped trying to sound like something I was never going to sound like and kind of found that kind of contralto, tenor, deeper thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I found my identity as who I was going to be, especially when I started songwriting, in high school. So that's kind of the, my baby story of how I got into music and then kind of found my place within music and what made me and, unique sort of thing. But
that's really cool. I remember, I can't remember what movie it was, but I sing too, right? And I've always struggled with my my voice. I can replicate some other things, but it's kind of bits and pieces of here and there, and certain things I can do, certain things I can't.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever found my voice, and I've heard a lot of
Yours,
I've
yeah.
heard a lot of other people talk about that. And yeah, that's really cool. You found it like kind of at a young age, so you're able to
Yeah,
through your like formative years be able to like, shape yourself as a songwriter
definitely.
and an
Because if you
artist.
asked me before that, I would have said I was a bad singer. Like, and not that
Yeah,
I think I'm the best or anything, but I would have said that's not, I love to do it, but I can't because I could hit this note or that note or sound a little bit like this person, but never quite be able to do that. And like you said, it's like I had pieces, but not any kind of whole identity or something that made it mine. And
yeah.
I'm really grateful to her. Like I said, that was Mrs. Goodwin, if you're out there.
Shout out Mrs.
But
Goodwin.
hello, Mrs. Goodwin. But yeah, she, like I said, she changed my life that day. I am probably the musician I am now because of that moment and that belief and that, someone pushing me and being like, hey. And she, like, even after that was like, be you, be unique. Like, you have this unique thing, own it. Don't try to be something else. And I think everybody sometimes needs that.
For
Someone
sure.
to remind them that it's great to be unique.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And you definitely do have a very unique voice and
Thank you.
yes, presentation, and very, very when you write music, it's very, very soulful, powerful,
Thank you.
and you're what's the word? And when you go from like soft to boomy and loud, you have that like
A
dichotomy of
dynamic.
like, yeah, the
Yes.
dynamic,
Thank you.
yeah, and it's really great to listen to.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
really
that. I try to be
appreciate you.
honest.
Yeah.
Probably honest to a fault.
Do you in your songwriting you were obviously the write music based on your experiences.
Yeah.
When you write, are you able to like write about like other experiences and like other things and tell stories and stuff like that, or is it more of just like
Not
a
well.
personal
Like
release?
that's I guess my weakness as a songwriter, if you want to put it that way. Because I've always written about things I've gone through, which I think a lot of people do.
For sure.
I just tend to not be like, if it's a nice sunny day and I'm having fun with friends, I just don't really think about sitting down and writing a song. But the minute things are going kind of bad or my anxiety's acting up, songwriting's just this way to get my feet back on the ground and deal with it. Like especially with the, like, if we talk about it later, the album that I just worked on, it, I really needed to get out of my head and some things that had happened and give it this place to go. So I've had people say in the past, like, oh, you're going to write a happy song or, you know, and I've tried over the years, but I get frustrated to the point that I just, there were years here and there where I just wasn't even really writing at all because I was trying to do something based on what people had suggested or I thought I should
Yeah.
do. I've written too much of this, so I should try to write that. And now, I said 38 years old. I'm a mom. I just want to do it and enjoy it, whatever that means for me. And
Yeah.
if somebody likes it, that's great. If they don't, or they want something happier, that's out there too.
Well, like
So I've
I think
just,
like too like happiness is like such like a brief thing in life, like
yeah,
it like so there's just way more of the other feelings out
yeah,
there to capture,
yeah,
so
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
that's one of the things that I really like about this new album of yours. And I guess it wouldn't really come through. Um, this is weird because like I'm talking to you and like we talk multiple times a week,
yeah,
like so it's
buddy.
hey, it's it was interesting watching it all come together and watch you talk about not just the content of the album, but the reasoning behind the album and the reasoning
Yeah,
behind your songwriting. And that was one of the things that I thought was kind of cool about your approach. You were just like, I'm doing this for me. I just like I
yeah,
had some things to get out. And
yeah.
you didn't really like, you know, care to, you know, do the whole industry thing. You
No,
were
it
just
really
like,
wasn't
it's like,
about that. Yeah.
here's an album. This is what I'm doing. And like,
And you
it's
were
there if
there
you want to
really at
listen
the
to it.
start.
I
Like
was,
you,
I remember you like picking away like around a
mhm.
campfire.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like working through some songs and like, I think one night after, like, it was like a late night party over at
That
our
was
place.
Mariposa.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
after
after
Mariposa
Mariposa.
Folk Festival,
Yeah.
and you kind of came in, and I I can't
I was
remember
feeling
what
it.
song it was, but like you were like working it out as you were playing it, and it was really
And
cool. And now I hear it on the album. I'm like, okay,
I know it's really neat. You've
yeah,
been there like from the beginning in sense of just talking about this because I actually hadn't written in a couple of years. Um, and like I said, I had all this stuff in my head and it needed somewhere to go. So I just like literally started picking up the guitar. And I think being around you and a lot of our friends and just having that inspiration of these people that I can trust to like be sloppy in front of, like
yeah,
if I'm not the best guitar player or just make mistakes or like you said, work through it and kind of just have that support. It really turned into something bigger. And yeah,
yeah,
now it's an album. It's kind of weird looking back at it. It obviously didn't happen overnight, but it does feel fast now.
for sure. But it's always fun, like when like I haven't wrote much, but when you do write something, it's kind of neat to see it come together because you're kind of just like messing about on the
Yeah,
guitar and your voice or whatever, and then something comes out and it's like really cool, and it's just like you totally vibe with it. Oh, I lost you there. Now I'm
sorry.
just staring at myself
No,
twice.
I'm sorry. I
Ah,
have an
there we go.
alarm that goes off every day at 2:45 for some reason. I keep turning it off and it keeps going off. I'm really good at technology. It
um,
says you got this when it goes off. So I was pumped for something that
yeah,
day,
yeah.
but every day since I got it.
Little 245 affirmation. That's great.
Exactly. If I can't get rid of it, whatever, at least it is
Yeah.
an affirmation.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like when like have you ever watched that Disney Beatles doc when
No, I haven't. I know
okay,
I
well
need
it's
to.
really cool because it's just like them in the studio, and like you'll see like one of them play a few chords and it sounds vaguely familiar, and then
Yeah.
like it's sounding rough and not like anything really, and then it just like kind of like transforms into like a
Yeah.
little like hook or like a little bit of the first verse, whatever. So yeah, that it was cool watching this whole album from
Yeah.
like sitting around a campfire to you sending me like your studio takes to
Yep.
listening at the album release party the other night in full
Yeah.
form.
That was really cool too.
That was a fun
Because
night. That was a really
I
nice
couldn't
night.
have a more supportive group of people around me, like at all times. And again, I really do think that's a massive reason why this did come together the way it did. Because I
We
remember
do have a
sitting,
really kick-ass friend group.
we really
We
do.
really, really
Like
do.
it was last summer sitting around Jen's pool, and I was talking about whether or not I should record it. And I
Yeah.
remember you just being like, "Go for it, like
Yeah.
go for it, man!
Absolutely.
Like absolutely do that. Have that under your like." It had been a long. I had been with a band in Ottawa for years with an ex partner, and we did lots of cool stuff, and it was great. But this was the first time in a long time I was on my own, which I don't think I believed in for a long time. I got really kind of lost in working with other people, and a
Yeah.
lot of it was the ex's music. I wasn't, other than being a singer and throwing in the odd thing, like it wasn't really mine. So this, not to say like it's mine, but I just,
Yeah.
it's mine.
Yeah.
I
It's
did
yours.
this like for myself, and I don't know. I really
Now,
that album
is this your first solo? Like, have you done a solo thing before? Like, I know you've played in bands
yeah.
and stuff, but have you ever done like a
I have
recording of
a
like your songs? Like,
I have a 3-song EP that I did in
okay,
like 2008 or 2009
okay,
called "The Trials of My Acoustic."
okay.
And I've listened to it the odd time since, and it's young.
Yeah. You know
But
what?
there's a few things on it where I'm still
I
proud
think you
of.
threw that on for me one time when we were hanging out in your garage.
For sure, I would have after a couple
Yeah.
of beers.
Yeah. Yeah. Get
Look
that
at
liquid
this
courage.
baby me. Yeah, exactly. But it's again, it's like it's young sounding, and even some of the lyrics, it's like almost seem a little silly, but
Yeah.
I'm still proud of it. I think I was 23 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
especially when your music's so personal to you, right? You like you
yeah.
kind of look back on it, it's like a diary almost. Like, oh
Well, and
yes.
that EP was like I can't remember, some guy that probably broke my heart at the time. And just with this new album, like it's about being in an abusive relationship and the circle of getting into it, being in it, getting out of it. So not to trivialize pain, pain is pain and you feel what you do at the time, but to hear this new one compared to like what I thought were mega life problems back then, it is a little bit
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Like the, you know.
Well, let's talk about your new album a bit because one,
Okay.
it's really cool that it is a concept album. a lot of
Yeah.
people don't do that anymore. So it's really refreshing
Mhm.
to hear like, like a long form story on an
Yeah.
album.
I'm actually proud it came out the way it did, because it did start just kind of this song's about this and this part. And because each one was kind of about something different that I had either gone through in this situation, and the fact that I wrote it after being in it, because I just wasn't really writing when I was in that situation. I was very, very lost, and just didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, which I think happens to a lot of people when they're in a
For sure.
situation like that. Um, and again, it just comes back to, and anyone out there who's been through this, or maybe you're still going through it, if you've been in a situation that's been abusive, whether emotionally or physically or both, when you're out of it, you don't necessarily just feel like, oh, it's over and you're out. It's like it's in your head, it stays with you, you relive it, you're hard on yourself. I was hard on myself at first. Like, how could I be so stupid? That narrative goes on, even though it could happen to absolutely anybody. And if there is someone out there listening that has gone through it, you're not stupid. I wasn't stupid. Actually, very brave and very strong. But so writing it came from a place of after, because even though I was out of it, there's this part of your psyche that's still living in it every day.
Yeah.
You're thinking about it when you go to sleep. You think, it's, you go for a quiet walk and it's there. Like, it's just these traumatic memories that kind of follow you around. And for me, it just, again, when I said this, those feelings had to go somewhere. And that's how the writing started. And it just took off and ended up with this concept, because there's a lot to pick apart, and kind of, you have to peel back that onion and get all the layers and look at it so you can actually heal, like put it all out in front of you, and
Yeah.
in order to start to move on, which wasn't easy at first. It's been happening so long now that I can like talk about it, but at first it was really, really hard. And again, back to the friend group, to be able to talk about it and play songs like that in front of you guys, and like get
Yeah.
past the like crying halfway through the song, like you guys let me do that. So yeah, so I'm so grateful. I'm proud of myself and I'm grateful, and to feel pride and so much gratitude all the time. I feel like I've really come out the other side of what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, with self-reflection, it's when you mentioned like layers of an onion, which is very much like a thing. There's so much, like there's that like trauma that's at the core, but like
Mhm.
it branches out to all these other aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Uh, exploring that like you did is a very cathartic thing to hear.
Yeah, it saved me. I really didn't have a choice to wallow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
there just really wasn't time for that, and I just didn't want that. I left so things would be better for my, uh, like, I changed my life, and outside of not the selfishness, but the self part of writing this for myself and for my healing, I do hope that if anyone out there going through it ever hears it, that it can offer them some solace and not feeling alone, because you sure as hell feel alone when you're in a situation like that.
for sure.
It's
Well, I'm sure it
it's
will.
pretty dark.
It's a very powerful album. And I really
Thank you.
my one of my favorite things about it is it is like a full complete story. Like it
Mm.
starts it starts with some hope, and then gets into some like darkness, as the album's called,
Yeah.
Into Darkness. And then like the last track, Out of Darkness, it's like a whole transformation of
Yeah.
what you went through, and
Yeah.
not only just like the traumatic pieces of it, but also like the growth at the end. And
Mhm.
it's a really, really great concept album. I really think a lot of people are gonna resonate with it, 'cause everybody's been through something bad.
Something.
Maybe not
Yeah.
as like violent or whatever, is like it's all like different stages. And like you said,
Yeah.
trauma is trauma. So
Yeah.
as,
Yeah.
as
I never
people will
trivialize pain.
definitely vibe with it, and I just think it's
Yeah.
a great
I
and
really
very
appreciate
well put
that.
together too. Like kudos to like your other musician that were on it, and the producer. They just did a great job on it.
Yeah, I worked with a producer out of Nashville who actually, that's a funny story too, because I had recorded a video of myself doing a cover song of Raining in Baltimore by Counting Crows on an acoustic.
Okay.
Or not an acoustic, a ukulele, sorry.
Okay.
I bought my son a toy ukulele for like $20. It's like plastic. But it was always just sitting around, so I was always like playing with it and tuning it up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
doing videos of like playing it for him so he'd see.
Yeah.
And it's this video of him like in his chair eating a muffin, because at that age, if he wasn't like in a chair or like contained in some way, he would always kind of ruin the video, which sometimes was hilarious. But
Yeah.
this particular day, I wanted to get a take of the video. And so he's eating his muffin and watching me play. And a couple days later, I get a message from this producer, Shannon MacArthur. And I just assumed it was BS, to be honest. So like nobody seeks you out on the internet and actually, like I'm like scam alert.
Yeah.
And looked into him a little bit more, and he seemed pretty legit. And I remember talking to you about it, and he had showed me a contract, and it was all pretty legit. And I decided I was going to go back with a few concessions to protect myself. And if he was weird about it, I wasn't going to do it. And if he was great, I would. And he was like, yeah, absolutely, let's do that. Cool. And was the coolest guy to work with. Did it all remotely at my friend Dan Schkopp's house in Barrie. He was great. He played acoustic guitar for me. Another guy I know, Corey Taylor, played guitar on one of the songs. Beautiful guitar player. And yeah, it just snowballed from like one thing to the next. And so not necessarily to just jump on things that come your way, opportunities over the internet, but sometimes in life.
Yeah. Well, you definitely didn't just jump on it. Like I remember having the conversations with you, and like I was like, well, like just like talk to some other people he's produced, and just like make sure it's legit. But yeah, he did a great job. He really did.
Yeah, and again, just a nice guy. Like I still talk to him. We actually do some songwriting together sometimes now, like just randomly every couple months, remotely. Yeah. COVID really changed that for people, but I don't know. It just lots of music. Every time I turn around, it seems like there's another opportunity or another growth thing, or I'm meeting another cool person. And being home in Aurelia has been amazing for that. Ottawa has a great music scene. I had the best years there.
Yeah.
Coming home, I didn't really know what to expect, but wow, like what a music scene here.
You know
and
what?
Just great people too.
I've been to Ottawa a bunch, and I never really liked it until the very last time I toured through there. It was a little bit outside of like downtown.
Yeah.
And it was just like a cool little like pocket of a little community, and it just it didn't feel like Ottawa. It just felt like like any little neighborhood in any city,
any place.
Yeah. It was really cool. There was some like great bars. There was some great restaurants around the area. And I really had a good time for the first time ever in Ottawa, because I've always kind of been like in the downtown, or like at the like convention center, or like the kind of bigger theaters and stuff. But I was going through with like a punk rock band, and we played like a little maybe 200 cap club.
Do you remember what it was called?
I can't remember what it was called, but there was like a little. I do remember there was like a little where the box office used to be. There was a little place where you could get like a few food items, get like poutines and maybe some barbecue something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a really great club. It's so hard to remember the names of clubs when you're on tour, because there's just so many of them. But it was great, and I wish I remembered, because like if I go back to Ottawa, I would love to go back to that neighborhood.
Yeah,
it was definitely cool.
I'm trying to think of what it could be. Well, we'll talk about it. We talk like all the time. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I never thought of Ottawa as like a music city. It was always kind of like the lame,
it's not like
government,
in terms of the
boring city to me.
Yeah, we're the city that goes to sleep at 6 o'clock, or no, it's the town that fun forgot. Is that actually like in the news? And I'm not a huge fan of seeing shows out at like the hockey arena, although I saw Metallica there one time and they're great. But there's some really great, like, in case anyone from my Ottawa days listens to this, Live on Elgin, you rock. They let us have all of our fundraisers there. They never took a dime. It all went to the organizer. Nice. And their motto was a local place, like for local musicians, run by local musicians. So that's really when you had those places and you knew that scene, also the Rainbow, awesome. But it's like when you know a place and you know those, I wouldn't even say like holes in the wall. They're more than that, but just those places that do good by musicians and would let you play your own stuff. That's hard to come by, I find, these days.
It is.
Those gigs where you play, 50 classic rock songs and stuff, that's great. I don't really do that. And not everybody wants to let you get up there and play your sad songs about, escaping your toxic situation.
No, it's really like, it's really, really nice. So when you find a place like that, it's, it's just different, it's like, and people tend to go there for the music, which is something that's like when something like that does get built, it becomes this like really cool little spot where all these like independent bands will play, and you can see some really great music. Like all my favorite clubs Toronto, where all these like smaller little venues that people played their own music.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Becomes like a music family. I don't know. There's something.
for sure. For
It's a
sure.
different thing than going to a bar to split a few pitchers and listen to like Fleetwood Mac songs, which can
100%.
also be a great night.
Yeah,
It's
of
just
course. Of
when you
course.
write music, you want a chance to do it live, which is actually why most of my like adult life I've done fundraisers. In Ottawa, we did it for the Ottawa Regional Cancer Foundation. I'd like to maybe start doing it here for Greenhaven, given like the subject matter
Yeah.
in the album. But I find it's kind of a win-win for everybody because it gives local musicians a chance to play their stuff, and then
Yep.
a charity gets to benefit from it, and it looks good for the establishment. So I always found that was a really great way to get local bands
Yeah.
kind of a chance to play.
Great.
But,
Yeah, you should do that because I would love to
yes,
see it.
yeah.
Being from
I've
where
been
the same
talking
town
about
you
it.
live in, I would love to see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm kind of struggling with now is I don't have a band. Like it's me. I've got a million friends that play
Yeah.
music, and some know this song, some know that song, but people be like, when are you going to start playing this live? It's like,
That's
oh, I
tough.
got crazy hours and a kid, and I want to do it. It's just, again,
Yeah.
this all had to kind of happen a little bit slower because I have to do it when I can do it, and
Yeah.
make sure, I've done my job and all my mother responsibilities. So I'm just kind of trucking along, and I know that I'll get there, but I'm certainly just can't do it too fast paced. It's just gotta happen organically.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like it's like making an album and playing shows are two completely different things. So when like you made an album and you made it with like some like instrumentation and stuff like that, which is like to play live, you need a band, right? So you can play it acoustic, but it's not going to sound like the album. But that's a tough thing, especially like at our age, where when like people have responsibilities, jobs, kids. It's so hard to get a band together. Like
It really is.
Yeah, like the last band I played in was like we were like a top 40 cover band thing. We played like a few gigs a month, and like we had the benefit of like, okay, we like the songs we're gonna play are really well known, so like everybody can practice them. We're not like working things out and like
that is a different
working
thing.
out a bridge and stuff. It's like a lot easier to kind of like not like everybody would already be half practiced when we did have like a practice, and then our practices just morphed into like our gigs, right? Like we didn't even have practices
you can
anymore.
Do your parts separately.
Yeah, but it's so much harder to like do original music and have to work it out with people.
And like one of the songs on the album was actually music that because I wrote 3 of the songs myself. I co-wrote one with Dan, where I recorded the album, and then another one, Hope Under City Lights, was actually music that had been written by 2 guys in Ottawa, Corey McCormick and Mike Corkum, and they had sent me the music forever ago, which is interesting because it's the closest thing I came to writing something while I was still kind of in the situation I was in, because I had kind of recorded some lyrics to it one day and forgot about it. And then when I found it, thought like, okay, it's time to finish this. So they're in Ottawa. So if someone here is going to learn it, there's like piano and violin. And so it's like, for whether they can't come every time there's a gig and play that stuff. And so it's like you got to get a violinist. And so, stuff like that, where it's just not as easy as, like you said, a cover show where you can kind of practice all on your own. Like, here's your violin part. See you Tuesday night. All the best. Plus, I have weird hours. I get up at 3 for work, so I'm in bed at 8. Most bands would practice at that time. Like,
that's weird. That's really weird hours for a musician.
It is. It is.
Like it's like almost exact opposite hours as a musician.
I know. It makes no sense. But
so let's talk about the reason why you're up at 3:30 in the morning every morning. You're a radio news anchor.
I am a news anchor, so I actually do news. Actually work from home, which is another new. I never thought that would happen. I knew COVID was really serious when radio hosts started working from home. I'm like, okay, this is serious because it was just unheard of.
Yeah,
we would travel through blizzards to get to work to tell people not to travel through the blizzard.
Yeah.
But So I do news for North Bay, Timmins, and Kingston for like Rogers stations.
Okay.
And I'm up at 3:30 because my first casts are at 5:30, and I've got casts for like the 3 different regions. So yeah, it's an early start, but again, I have a 3-year-old who goes to daycare at like 8, 3 days a week. So I can do my radio show from like 3:30 to 8. You know, my dad usually takes him off to daycare, or there's 2 days a week that he's home and he spends some time with my dad while I'm working. But then I'm done work at like 11. So then me and my kid either have the day together, or I get an afternoon for myself to work
Yeah.
on music if he's in daycare. So for right now, it kind of works because he's actually asleep for more than half of my shift. So you know.
So how did you get into news broadcasting?
Well, when I was in high school, I had a teacher. I was kind of a wayward soul. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was a little bit rebellious, and this teacher just said, "You should go to radio school. You have a voice for it." And I didn't really have any other plans, so I just sort of did. It was a 2-year course, broadcast journalism.
Yeah.
I did like history and current affairs and that kind of thing. So I went, and I always excelled at it. I worked really hard, and I ended up getting a job because the school I went to, Loyalist in Belleville, they had launched a radio station in the school like
Okay.
the year I
Yep.
started. So you could hear the students like in Napanee, Belleville, Kingston, like all kinds of areas around it. I think it had like one of the biggest broadcasting areas that a school had had. I could be wrong about that. It was up there though. And I got hurt, and somebody took a chance on me and hired me, and I got a lot of just on the job experience, applied to work in Ottawa and got a job, and I've bounced around a couple radio stations, but I've been with Rogers since 2010. I think it's been like 13 years. And,
Oh,
and again, yeah, now I work from home, and it allowed me to actually get out of the situation I was in
for
because
sure.
I still have the job through the state. They were really, really supportive, actually. Like huge props in that. It was
That's
kind of
great.
like I have to go. So, and they're like, well, we're gonna make it work. You can keep doing it. You know, I do my job. I get up, I do it. Nobody has to worry about me. I've been doing it so long, so I got a lot of support that way. And
That's
so
cool.
yeah, now I'm a basement radio host. Kind
Yeah.
of miss talking to people at work.
Yeah.
Lonely.
Especially being a mom, like have some like adult
Yeah,
conversations and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. We have like a Teams thing, so there's a lot of chats and jokes, but it's
Okay.
not quite the same as like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I work from home a lot too. And like I worked at home through like even before the pandemic was a
yeah,
thing, right? Like I was because like being like a freelance tour manager and production manager, like it's we're always working with different clients, and like I'd go into
yeah,
their offices sometimes, but most of the time it's just
yeah.
working from home. So I was like
Yeah,
pretty
you get
used to
used to
that
it.
whole like lifestyle before everyone else was.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's great. It's so there's so much freedom in it.
there really is,
Like
which is
you're
nice.
where
And
our
I'm
situations are a little differently. You kind of have a
yeah,
bit of a schedule, but
yeah. But
uh, it's
I
still
like
nice to like
it is
wear
like
comfy pants.
I do wear comfy pants. That is a thing. But I've been doing the job for so long that it's nice to just like I get in there, I turn on my computer, and I'm like laser focused. I know what I need to do. I know how to do it, and it's kind of nice because there's been years in broadcasting where the job itself was really, really stressful. Um, Broadcasting can just be a stressful job. Just sometimes when I was a reporter, depending on the stories that you cover. I remember going to a murder scene once. Just stuff
Jesus.
like that. I didn't like that side of it. I think I'm a performer. Like at heart, I like to
Yeah.
sing. I even always said I was never the best like interviewer as a reporter because it's like I
Okay.
like the mic in front of my face. Like
Yeah.
so I like being a news anchor. I've put a lot of work into my delivery and my read, and that part I really, really like. But so I've reached a point in my career where I feel like I'm doing the part of it that I'm the best at and I'm the most comfortable at.
Gotcha.
And which is good. And I paid my dues to get here. I've been doing this since 2007. So
That's great.
I just aged myself again. I've done that a few times in this
Well, you started
conversation.
off talking about cassette tapes and recording, and
I
so
miss
it's like the
mixtapes.
damage is done.
I did
um,
it early, get out of the way. I'm old.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to do in like radio or broadcasting? Is there any like other avenues you want to go down? Or
It's hard to say. Right now it's funny because it's not my career. I've been so focused on the music right now just because it's been so enjoyable. And like I said, it's the first time in a really long time that it's for me. It's on my, it's my choice to do. I can do it on my schedule. Like there's no one, you know, being in a band in Ottawa when there was kind of two of us. And again, a lot of it was his writing. It was a lot of someone else's kind of timelines and what they needed from me. Whereas this has been, I don't know, I just feel like I've been really growing. So I haven't thought that much because, like I said, I'm at such a comfortable place in my career. I think when my son goes to school, which is in September, oh my God, I'll have a little more time to think about that because it'll be
Yeah.
a shift and I'll have kind of a different time. Like my routine will look different and I can kind of sit back and think about if I'd like to do something different. But right now I'm really comfortable and I don't know being like I said, I'm kind of young old, like I'm 38, so I have a lot of career left. So
Yeah.
might not want to do that forever, but for right now, it really, really works. But I haven't really thought about where I want to go next because like I wanted to get into news. Actually, interestingly enough, my two goals in life were to sing on stage and be on the radio when I was like 16. So
Okay.
yay.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, yay. But so I guess I need to figure out because I wanted so badly to be a news anchor and kind of worked for years as a reporter to get there that I haven't thought past that. 'Cause, like I certainly don't want to be a news director. So it's like all the pain, all the
Yeah, it'd be a
administrative
lot
stuff.
of it. Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
to be more the more admin and like
Yeah.
people management. It's
Yeah. So because I love what I do so much and the music's been so fulfilling that I'm in a good spot just with fulfillment at the moment.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, you get
Yeah.
your like all your creative outlets.
Yeah.
The fantastic.
Big difference from
Nice.
where I was
It's
sitting
really lucky to
3 years ago.
have a career like that. Like a lot of people
Mhm.
like don't
Mhm.
like I feel really
Yeah.
blessed to have been lucky enough to do a job that
Mhm.
I like love and I
Do you
be
love? Yeah.
creative in.
And you feel confident in that job.
Yeah. Well, sometimes overconfident, sometimes not confident enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like,
That's human, right?
there's you know, definitely things like I've said before, like whenever I've gone into like, I've definitely been in some positions where I'm like a little bit over my head and I'm just like really overwhelmed and like I have to
Yeah.
like learn on the fly. But that's just growth, right? I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's really cool that you have a career though that's been
Yeah.
fulfilled in. Such a lucky thing.
I've uh I've had a really good mix of getting lucky with situation actually, and I had a teacher tell me that when I was still in college. She said like your voice or some luck might get you in the door and if you work really
Yeah,
really hard you can stay inside
for
and
sure.
I've never ever forgot
Good way to
that. It's
put it.
like I know that I've been lucky in some of the opportunities I've had and then I've also worked really really hard and not just at the job but like to be part of a team even now working from home like I feel close to my team and like I want to lift them up like I always and I want to be one of those people with my friends anyone I work with my own family like I want to be someone that lifts people up that is supportive and easy to work with, easy to get along with. Just is, I want to be a good human. I want to be a good person, whether that's at
You are a good
work or
human.
in friendships, and yeah, that's the main goal, right, in life, or not even goal, but just my mission statement. Have a
So
good heart, do good.
post album now, you've well, I guess you haven't released it. There was a little bit of
No,
issue
I had a bit of a hiccup,
with your
a
release,
little
but
hiccup, a processing delay, as it's been called, which is kind of fine. At first, I kind of panicked. I was like, "Oh my god!" I announced it coming out this day, and I'm like, "You know what? It is what
yeah,
it is. It's coming out soon.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah.
hang on there. Wait for me for a minute." But so it should be out this week.
Did
I'm
they give
pretty
you an
sure, but I feel
ETA of
like
when they were
one
loading
to
it, or
two business days.
1 to 2 business
So
days?
I
Okay.
actually kind of think it's my fault because I've been having some issues with my computer because my Adobe Express stopped working a couple of days ago, and something else stopped working, and then I uploaded everything like Friday and it said like 1 to 2 days. And then I got like an error thing saying that there was a delay. So I don't know if that's on their side or just whatever's been going on with my
Ah,
hickey system. But either way,
weird.
I want to say it'll be out this week based on that. But I fear if I say that just because of,
Coming
I'm
soon.
also one of the like unluckiest lucky people. I have like that stupid dumb luck. So, but it's coming. It's done. It's coming. You've heard it.
Yep.
And it'll be
So
on all the streaming sites,
so
Spotify and all that.
it's been done for a while, and you kind of been sitting on it a little bit.
Yeah, it was finished and mastered in early February.
So, and you mentioned you were doing some writing now. What's that shaping up to be? Can you talk about that?
So that I have like another 6 songs ready to start recording, and they're a little different. They're a little folky, a little less angry. Um, they're a little more just um, they're just they're much less dark. They're still kind of about relationships, but more just oh, bad timing, it didn't work kind of
Okay.
thing. Kind of when you have chemistry with someone, but the timing's just off. A little bit different. Um, yeah, so they'll still be kind of less morose, I guess, but still in that like realm of like the human condition and just
Yeah.
I write about relationships often. It seems to be what when I write about stuff like that, it seems to be how I connect with people the best. Singing one of the songs from the album at a fundraiser in August, a girl came up to me crying after. And not that I love that she was crying, but I love
Yeah,
that
you're like
connection with a
that.
person that, yeah. She was like, "Can I hug you?" And it was a very magical moment. And we hugged and like stayed embraced for
That's
quite a
cute.
few minutes. And yeah, so those are the things I seem to write about that seem to connect with people. And I don't know. Like I said, the older I get, the more I try to not just stick with what I'm good at, like not challenge myself, but just do what comes naturally
Yeah.
and go with the flow there. And who knows, maybe I'll just write a country western album about whiskey one day. I don't.
Nice.
Probably not.
I love those albums.
No, I do too. Like songs we cover and stuff like a lot of the time. I just don't know how to write them.
Yeah. Me too. I wrote I wrote a lot like in my like teens and early 20s. But then it just kind of fell off. And like every time I go to write now, it's like I'll write something and I'm like, nah, not this isn't, you know.
Yeah. And if
It's
you don't feel
it's
it,
kind of
then
cool to get it out, but like I found like I write like just writing, not
yeah.
necessarily for like the format of music. I
Yeah.
find is like pretty cathartic for me.
Oh
And
yeah.
I do a lot of that, but to write a song, I don't know what it is. Like I think I listen to too many good songwriters, and then I'm just like, no, it's like it's got to have that. And then if it doesn't,
Yeah.
what's the
It's so
point?
easy
Like,
to get
'cause
up in your head
if
when it
I
comes to
don't like it,
songwriting.
who else is gonna like it?
Yeah.
So
Well, I like watching you perform anyway. Whether it's just
thanks.
playing covers or doing an open mic together, I think you're fantastic at the guitar. And even in terms of writing, we should do more of that. Like you sent me that riff on Saturday or whatever.
Oh
Like
yeah,
just
like
like when
musically,
you've got
I can
something.
write
Yeah.
I can write music
Yeah.
for days.
And
Just
that's
like
where I
it's the
struggle. Like,
lyrics that I like not
yeah.
into.
And
Yeah.
that's where like I got books and books of lyrics and then I played the guitar. Like I'm not awful, but I'm just not great.
Yeah.
Like I
Everyone
I
has their
can play
thing.
the basics, like I know the chords.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then live, I'll play live and I have recently at a few fundraisers, but I just when I sing, I kind of go to this place and it's hard to describe it. It's like
Yeah.
my Narnia. And I just do find it difficult to play guitar and still go to my Narnia because my guitar skills aren't that amazing. And I have issues with anxiety.
Yeah.
So for years, I put a lot of pressure on myself that you either need to do it this way or not at all, or you need to be good at this and this to be considered a musician or a songwriter. And I'm just done with all of it. Like
Yeah.
I'm just being me and doing what I can do. And
Yeah.
again, I think not to be a broken record, but again, having such a supportive group of friends that really point out each other's beauty all the time and not like, hey, well, it's great you can do that, but you can't do that. And da, da, da.
Yeah,
I'm just,
it's
yeah, I'm,
definitely hard to play guitar and sing at the same time. It's like
I,
and it's like if I put down the guitar, I'm a better singer. And like
oh, yeah,
I'm not a
yeah,
good singer by any means, but like when I put down the
I
guitar,
think you are.
I can focus on it more because it's different. Like right, like when you're
Yeah.
singing, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this line out, and I take a breath and like do
Yeah.
that. But like when you're playing guitar,
Especially
it's
if I'm
like
trying to
I'm
convey
doing
an
this line,
emotion.
then I have this chord
Yeah.
change, and then it's like maybe
Mm.
this little lick. And it's like
Yeah.
you're like I find my breathing gets messed up. And
Yep.
one of the best pieces of advice I ever
Especially if
got
you have
was
anxiety. Anxiety fucks. Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
I
I
can see,
swear.
yeah. You can
F's
swear.
with
You can
breathing
fucking
too.
swear.
Yeah.
This is a
Sorry.
podcast. You can do whatever
Okay.
the fuck you want.
Radio.
So
I've been radio for
yeah.
too long.
I think YouTube will demonetize you if you swear in like the first like minute of the video or something. It's some weird
I
rule
waited.
like that. So I don't know. I don't care anyway. But they can fucking demonetize me anytime.
Fucking right.
So
Love it.
but like so the best music advice I ever got, because like I struggle with anxiety too, especially performance anxiety when I'm like playing music. Um and the guy, he was like, he's this like super calm, very like spiritual guy. And he was like, you just gotta breathe, just like
Yeah.
focus on your breathing. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And then like instantly, like the next time I performed, I was better. And
Yeah.
it's such a like a weird basic thing, but
Yeah.
I just focused on that. And you know, it was like, I'm sure it's like picture everyone in their underwear or whatever, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, like it was like I wasn't doing it because like
Yeah.
I would get like a loss of breath, and I'd be like,
Well, and
you know,
anxiety does
in
that to breath, right? Like when you have a panic attack or you're feeling
yeah,
really anxious, they tell you to,
yeah.
there's yoga positions where you help you breathe properly. Like so many things come down to proper breathing. So it does like it is sound advice. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
So like the with the breathing thing though, like and you're if you're playing guitar and singing at the same time, it's hard to regulate your breathing.
Yeah.
Like I've played other instruments too, right? Where it's like I've
Mm.
played like woodwind instruments and brass
Yeah. Yeah.
instruments. So like and your breathing with that is so important too, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like and just like even in like when I'm playing guitar, just playing guitar, my
Yeah.
breathing is
Yeah.
really important too, I
Yeah.
find. Um,
Yeah.
and so like if you're doing both of those things, it's really, really difficult. There's like,
It's a lot of breathing.
yeah, well, it's
A
like
lot to
and
think
a lot
about.
of like concentration and like
Yeah.
muscle memory and just like
Yeah.
having that
And
practice.
I'm so confident with one, and it's funny to be so confident with one and then just not with the other. Although if I'm home by myself or like that night after Mariposa, I was just giving her and not thinking. I had zero anxiety that night.
Yeah.
I had the Mariposa like feelings and vibes like, reverberating off me. And I sat there and I played. And I remember that I was playing well and singing well and doing it together. I
I
remember like the
remember
next
that night.
day going,
It was
mm,
something. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, it's like it
the
was one of those
Mariposa
moments
ghosts
where you're
got
like,
me.
yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
got right inspired.
They
It's a
raised
great
me.
festival. It's like
It
it's
is.
this wonderful, wonderful festival.
Yeah.
It's like you could
I got my tickets
definitely
today.
see how you could draw inspiration from that. Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I haven't got tickets
I
for
did.
it yet. I'm always like a late ticket buyer, but
They cost more after like next week or something.
yeah, whatever. Like it's like and
Yeah.
typically like this is the first year that I haven't been doing production. Well, maybe this will be my second summer
Mhm.
not doing like production work full time. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
my in years past it's always been like, oh, I don't buy tickets because like I'm probably going to be at another festival.
Well, exactly.
So
Yeah.
now
Festival season was busy for you.
yeah, so now I've been able to like go to some more festivals and stuff and do some of these festivals that I've missed for years. Like there's
Yeah.
one festival coming up that I absolutely love. It happens every May long weekend, and every September long weekend. It's this tiny little indie festival. And it's just so awesome.
I think you
Um
told me about that last year.
yeah, it's super rad.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to going. But yeah, I can see how Mariposa would definitely be like an inspiration to like do that. And I
Yeah,
remember
it's
that night, like it was
Mhm.
I can't remember. I think my buddy, I had a buddy in from out of town that weekend,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
like we were just kind of hanging out, and then you showed up, and like you grabbed the guitar,
Late too. It was
and you
super
grabbed the
late.
guitar, and I was just like, holy shit, man, because like I've heard you play
Yeah.
before and stuff, but like
Yeah, I
it
had
was just
something in
like,
me that night.
and that was the first time I'd heard that song from you, and it was just like, oh, that's fucking amazing. Like
Thank
when you
you.
just like, when it all just like kind of comes together, right? And
Yeah.
it's like that goosebump feeling, right? It's just like,
I and it was one of those
it was
times where
wild.
I knew it was good too. Like there's lots of times where it's just like I'm messing around and I don't have much confidence in it. But again, I do think it was like the spirit of Mariposa that was like told me to believe in myself. I think I went to record it the next day and it was like gone. It was like, phew. Like it wasn't. I
Yeah,
got the
yeah, yeah,
song written, but it was like,
yeah,
oh man, like I was a guitarist last night. Now I'm back to clumsily fumbling along on this thing.
yeah,
But again, I do think it had a lot to do with the fact that I was out of my head. I'm my own like worst critic, and when I get up in my head, it just
yeah.
I I play really great by myself all the time, and there's something about being in front of people. Suddenly, my hands are like get all like gollumy.
Gollumy.
They don't
That's
work
so funny.
anymore. I
Yeah.
swear they worked earlier.
Yeah,
But,
that's so
yeah.
funny. Yeah, it's tough to play in front of people. Like it, like
Yeah.
like I think I played my first gig when I was like 14 or 15, maybe.
Oh wow.
And
I'd love to see 14-year-old Jake playing. That'd be awesome.
oh, it was so bad. It was so
Oh,
bad.
I bet it was adorable.
Oh my god, no, like it was horrible. Like we showed up, so like I had an amp that didn't have like it didn't have like a like dirty channel on it. So like it was like a clean amp, but I ran like distortion through it through a pedal board. So like we like I think we were playing like Green Day, Blur,
awesome.
and like an original song we made, and each
Yeah.
one of these songs like was like heavily distorted. And I remember my distortion pedal, I had a battery. I didn't have like the adapter to plug it in, so the battery died. So I had
Of
to
course.
play like Green Day and Blur like clean. And it was like it was the most fucking embarrassing thing. It sounded like trash. And yeah, that was the very, very first gig I ever did, and it was so bad.
That's such a good story,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. Like I was like,
Oh,
well,
I
we're
love
here,
that.
like we got to do it, and like
I really
Yeah.
wish there was video of that because I would die to see that.
oh, I'm sure there is, but it was like back in the day where it was like you recorded onto like tape. So
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. Was it
it's
like
not
was
like it was not like it was like live streamed and like on the internet forever, you know. Thank
was it
God.
Song 2 by Blur?
It was
it
Song
that
2
one?
by Blur. It was
Of
When I Come
course.
Around by Green Day, and then
Yeah,
like an
nice.
original song we had wrote,
Oh, I love it.
and
I
it
love
was
it.
horrible. It was horrible.
We're 14 though, we're like kids.
Yeah, we were in high school.
Not everyone can be like Silverchair, like 13, just rocking the distortion. I had to throw that in there.
We were
That was
such
my first CD I
like
ever
a
bought
weird
for
like
myself.
group of people too. I think it was a lot just because like I grew up in the country, so it was like just like a geography thing, and it's like the only other
Yeah.
guy who played drums. Just
Yeah.
like and like he liked a certain kind of music, and I liked a certain kind of music,
And you
and
don't
like
drive
we
yet.
we never like vibed on like anything. So like it was so weird, man. It was just such like a weird group of musicians.
Oh, again, I wish I could see that. You guys should have a reunion tour.
Yeah. I don't know. I actually know where one of the
I don't
guys
think
is,
so.
but I don't know where the other guy is.
So funny.
Yeah.
First gigs. My first like actual gig, I don't even know what that would be. I guess I sang at my high school graduation, and I started doing open
What song did you
mics when
sing?
I actually sang a Silverchair song.
Nice.
I need to bring them up twice in
Nice.
2 minutes, but I changed the lyrics because they wanted me to sing Forever Young by Bob Dylan. And I was just,
Okay.
I have nothing against Bob Dylan, but I was like, I don't want to sing.
Yeah.
I want to sing something like from our generation. So it was actually a song like off Diorama, which I loved them no matter what they did. But yeah, most people were pretty much done by that point. But anyways, I just changed the words to make it kind of more graduation-y.
Okay.
I wish I had that on video too, because I remember it being kind of good. A girl played the piano, and I just sang.
Cool.
And then once I went to Ottawa, I started doing open mics by myself, probably terribly looking back, but I had like this 21-year-old confidence. It was just like,
Yeah.
I can sing the songs. And then, then I met a guy, we started playing together, started kind of as a duet. He played guitar, I played ukulele. Yeah. And then we did an album, and for years we did that album, even though it was like a full album, we didn't have a band, so we would just do acoustic versions.
Okay, yeah.
And then over time got a band going, and then that band was a thing for probably like 4 or 5 years. It's hard to say now. It all blurs together, but yeah. So that's kind of my live singing career. I'm probably forgetting some stuff in there, but
so like ideally, like if you were performing, ideally, like you would want to be like backed by a band.
I would love that, to be really honest. It was like right before I left Ottawa doing the full band. It was awesome. I loved the years as like a duo, guitar and ukulele, and I got pretty confident playing the ukulele live. And funny, I was saying I that's hard for me, but I was practicing all the time, and it was a lot of intricate little stuff, and I was doing it, and I was getting better, and I did love that. And I'm part of me's a little bit upset that by not doing that, I don't even know where I would start to play that way again. But when we had the full band, I was really that frontman and or front woman or whatever, front person. Uh, and I was really starting to get into it. Like I was feeling really confident, and I used to be that person that would kind of hold the mic like this and wasn't really sure like what to do, but
Yeah.
the mic stand was long gone. I remember one of our last shows, I like crawled on the stage like at the end, and I was really
Getting into it.
finding, yeah, and I was just, it was more, it wasn't, you always want to put on a good show, but it wasn't just about putting on a good show. It was like the best therapy session ever. Like I was feeling good. I wasn't just performing. I was like finding something within myself, and like it was like healing, if that makes any sense. I don't know exactly how to describe what I mean, but it was more than just, hey, a good show. It was, I don't know, like that Mariposa vibe. It's like finding that thing in yourself, and it's like more than music. It's a whole, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Try to be less cliche about it, but I'm not quite sure how to make that come
well,
across.
no, there's definitely when that's like when you're playing music with other people, and like you have something coming out of you, and like there's just like is like, I think it's like just vibrations, right? And
Yeah,
it's like it's
energy.
coming out of you, and you're like feeling that vibration, and you're like feeling that vibration coming back off of them, and it like when it hits and comes together, there's a just a unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, it's like nothing else. And then the energy you get back from people
That
is really,
too.
really
Yeah.
awesome. Even just St. Patrick's Day with our friends Mike and Dan, I sang a Cranberry song, and it was St. Patrick's Day, so people were into the, Cranberries, Irish, and it was zombie, and everybody knows it. And it's just like you feel like you're walking on clouds after, because everyone's just giving you all this energy and they're singing along, and it's such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Um, it's there's nothing like it for me
For sure.
anyway, I'm
For
sure.
sure. No, it's a really cool feeling when like when you connect through music. Is just like
Yes,
it's the best. There's nothing really like,
there's a quote I heard once.
you get
like,
you get goosebumps, right? When you're playing the music, and like that's when I know it's special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a quote I heard once I always loved, and I'm going to mess it up, but it's along the lines of like music transcends time, beliefs, languages. You can believe two different things. You can speak two different languages. You can be, one of you can be 9, one of you can be 99, and a certain kind of music will connect the two of you.
For sure.
And I think that that's a really powerful thing if you think about it. And I love that. I love music. I could go on all day about how much I love it.
My first music teacher,
life would be like without it.
My first music teacher in high school said like music, I think he said music and math are the international languages.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
I suck at math,
and
so
I think music is even more universal than math, because like math you at least have to have some kind of reading comprehension, and but like music, like you can, like, if you before you can even talk, like you can bang on something. I've seen it. Like my nephew, he'll like he can't talk, and he'll like bang along to something or clap along, or like if I like say a word, he'll like match that like tone. And
absolutely. That's so powerful. It's you're right. With math, you do need to have some level of understanding. Like my kid was bopping along in his little bouncer before he could.
Those are some of my favorite videos when you show him, like he'll have like, I remember it was the most chaotic thing I've ever seen, but I think he had like a piano thing in front of him, and he had like a ukulele and like a microphone, and he was like hit like strumming the ukulele with the microphone, and like I was like, yeah, go kid.
He's rocking. And now like when he goes to bed, he's got like every kid, he's got all these stuffies in there. So he's got like his ukulele, which you can actually play. And then he's got like a microphone that you remember those ones you can record yourself?
Yeah.
And then play it back, one of those things. And then there's an xylophone, a piano, some other guitar thing. And he needs them all. And then he says he's putting on a show for his stuffies. So every night I like read it, say goodnight, give him his kiss, and it's like, have a good show.
That's so cute.
And he'll be in there. Like, I think I fall asleep for him sometimes. I can fall asleep here. I'm like, ugh.
Have you ever seen Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey? It was the
You know what? I saw it in
Andy
theaters, so I don't really
okay.
remember it.
Oh
'cause
well,
that's a long time
it was
ago.
like the story of Andy Kaufman, who's like a
Yeah.
famous comedian. But like when he was a kid, he would do performances for stuffed animals.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. It's
So maybe you got
and now
little Andy Kaufman on your hands.
maybe I do. And I because he's funny too. But now I'm just going full brag on my kid. But at Thanksgiving, he came out because he's learned a few little songs like Twinkle Twinkle Little
Okay.
Star. And he wanted to play a song for him before he went to bed. And he holds the ukulele. He can't play, but he strummed it. And the whole time he strummed it, he sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And he sang it pretty good. And he was actually singing.
That's
and
awesome.
It was amazing. And like my grandmother and like my great aunt was, oh my God.
That's
but
so cool.
Again, I'll never push him. If he likes
Yeah.
it, I'll encourage him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be a musician because I am. But
well, you
when he
can
does
see he
stuff
likes
that,
it. Like when he just
Yeah.
like if like follow Alex Kaye Black on Instagram and you'll see all the
You'll see my kids too.
see the Theo concerts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
it's definitely
probably
cute.
more
He's super
entertaining
into
than me
it.
half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also the one where it's like me playing guitar and I have a hat. So he goes and gets his hat and he gets his ukulele and he puts on his rubber boots. And he was like harmonizing. I think you commented on that one where he like comes in at the end. He's like, he's not harmonizing properly, but
yeah, he's trying. He's getting there.
It's like a duet with a 2-year-old. It's pretty cute.
So awesome.
Yeah, he definitely sees a lot of music, so he won't lack for inspiration.
Yeah, you definitely
if he
come
does
from
end up
a music
it.
household. Like I think you mentioned before, like your parents are super into music. And,
oh yeah, they come and watch us all play.
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, very cool people.
Yeah. So I think that's about time.
All right, that went fast.
Yeah. Talking for like or something.
That flies,
We've definitely been recording for over an hour now. But yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to
Thanks
chat
for
with
having
me.
me.
It was
Absolutely.
lots of fun. And yeah, check out Alex's new album, Into Darkness, and follow her on her social medias. They're all down over there in the corner.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. And happy 40th, my dear, dear friend.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I love you.
Have a good night. Love you too. Peace.
You too. Bye.
You're watching the Hostile Takeover podcast.